Oh, there we go.
How's it going?
These things are just the bane of our existence.
Hold on one second.
No problem.
Trying to set this up. How do you have your phone so steady? Do you have like some cool
Oh, you know me.
tripod?
Yeah, I've got like a ring and
Always the
like a little
professional.
holder. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Right,
John,
I got it.
you're good.
Go
You're
ahead.
good. Take your time. No, I was just going to say, I really appreciate you obviously still taking the time and doing this because I know that I'm sure you're exhausted. It was an emotionally draining night in a lot of ways. So very gracious of you. And I'll just start off with how is Connor?
Yeah, so he's in hospital right now. I'll be heading over there after this to check in on him. Um, it's a bitter pill to swallow. This sport is the highest highs and the lowest lows.
Yeah.
And we got to take some time to assess what the next move is, and obviously now rehab and recovery is where it's at. Um, but yeah, let's talk about the fight.
All right,
Let's talk about the fight.
let's talk about the fight. What obviously before the end, what were your takeaways from the exchanges that they had on the feet? What were you liking there?
So it was the minute he opened up, and I thought the last couple of weeks training went fantastic, and he went in with that nice wide open stance and starts off with a bunch of kicks, and at that kind of 2 minute mark, it was reminding me a lot of the New York fight, the Eddie fight, and he predicted it would be a kind of a masterclass like that, and I was really starting to believe that's how it was going. It was going fantastic. I thought he looked really, really good in there. I think it was about the halfway point. Then there was an exchange where Dustin landed a good cross, and he pushed Conor back one or two punches, and then there was a clinch. It went to the fence, and we drilled a lot in this position. I studied Dustin a lot on defense and his fight with Holloway, for example, and we knew that head would be there for the guillotine, so we had drilled that a lot. Um,
It looked tight.
maybe, yeah, he has a wicked guillotine. Conor has a very, very strong guillotine. Um, a slight tactical error going to his back with it. We had drilled and aimed to finish that on the feet, or at least if it didn't get the finish on the feet, it would make the takedown attempt go away, and then we're back to the center of the octagon and get back to
Yeah.
boxing. Even how he got off the fence with the guillotine, for those who like guillotines, and to see how he used the kind of standing, I call that the standing butterfly hook, where it's almost like he offers a single leg but makes that butterfly hooks type frame with the shin against the inside of the hip. Got lovely separation on that. Maybe that'd be the time to chase the high elbow a little bit more, or look for the separation. However, as somebody who likes guillotines myself, the temptation to try and throw that leg over the back and just get the finish is very, very strong. And Conor was the one that was in there. He must have felt the grip was right, and he went for it. And that's what fighting's about. He went for it, and Dustin did a fantastic job of getting his leg over to the far side, opposite to his head, to relieve the pressure. There was a bit of a struggle to get the head free. Eventually, Dustin got the head free, and then he landed some decent ground and pound. Now, most of them caught on the gloves and the forearms. Afterwards, Conor had no marks, no bruising, swelling, cuts, anything like that. So I think most of them were parried, but for sure that was Dustin's moment. He had some he's obviously winning there in the judges' eyes. In saying that, I thought some of the drills we done with feet on the hip, shin in the front, and then controlling the head and landing our own elbows to try and cause a separation. And then when Dustin stood up, he got off some nice up kicks. Some of them just whizzed past, and some landed pretty well. So all in all, like up until that point, let's say that's almost 4.5 minutes, I wasn't concerned at all. I was actually really, really happy, and I knew what I was going to be saying. I've always decided what I'm going to say in between rounds at about the 4.5 minute mark. So I already knew when we went back to the stool, I was going to just encourage him to keep on doing what he was doing with the kicks. I felt Dustin was going to try to close a little bit heavier this time, so we would be looking to, rather than exchange a punch, just slide back, the kind of classic slide back left hand he did on Aldo, and to look for those type of techniques, slide back left cross, slide back left uppercut, and just kind of let Dustin fall into that open space. Dustin has this technique of shifting where he will change leads, going from left lead to right lead. And I felt that would be our opening there. So look, at the 4.5 minute mark, even 4:45 mark, everything's gravy. I thought energy looked good, technique looked good. Few adjustments in between rounds, and I thought round 2 we were well on track to getting possibly finish it there, or at least keep going, keep the rhythm going for the rest of the fight. And then he managed to scramble up to the feet, and you can watch this back on there's lots of short clips on Instagram where he throws a leg kick, he moves away, and then he threw a teep, and that was one of the techniques we definitely wanted to employ in this fight. Obviously being southpaw, that liver side is there, so we're looking to teep in that area. And if you think about it, the way a teep is sort of, I think it actually does mean spears. It's supposed to go in a kind of a horizontal motion in and out. Whereas Conor, through that particular technique, more like a sort of a karate style technique, flicking from the knee, to stab the ball of the foot into the abdomen, which is a good technique as well. But on opposite stance, when he was facing Mendes, for example, it's a bit safer because of the positioning of the elbows. But on same stance, there's a high danger of catching that elbow. And you can watch it back, you'll see that's clearly where the fracture happened. He very aggressively threw that kick. Dustin shelled with the lead hand, and the foot wraps around the knee in a similar fashion to where poor old Silva and Weidman, they wrapped their shin around the shin. He wrapped his shin around the elbow. He stands back on it, and you can see the bone almost protrude through the skin. I don't know how he didn't fall there, but he comes in then. They both exchange crosses. They both miss with their backhands. He goes to step back on it, and that's when it's that horrifying fold underneath that. Again, we've seen it a handful of times over the years, Weidman and Silva being obvious ones. And of course, that's the end of the contest. So yeah, bitterly disappointed. He did everything. He did everything right. We were all very. I think it would be noted by some people, very, very quiet on social media for the last couple of months. No group training pics, videos, no interviews, no chats. We really wanted to keep our cards close to our chest. We studied this a lot. I lived with Conor for the last couple of months, and most evenings we're either physically sitting together watching fights or WhatsApp, and he's in a big house, so you got a WhatsApp on the other side of the house. Train twice a day every day, never went off the nutrition plan. Best weight cut we've ever done. Shout out to Tristan Kennedy, he did a fantastic job at that. Sparring partners were on point. Everybody pushed themselves to the limits. Little bit of that ankle injury had been aggravated during the camp. We've gotten a scan on it. Did that have a small part to play in weakening it? I don't know.
I was going to ask about that. Did he have? I mean, that was actually going to be one of my questions. Was there anything that happened in the camp that could have caused potentially a hairline fracture? And it sounds like maybe he hurt his ankle. Did he get an X-ray at that point? And did it show any sort of hairline fractures or issues there? Yeah.
So we were in Neil Elatrash. Some people will probably know him. Pretty famous orthopedic surgeon here in LA. We were with him a couple of weeks ago to get a scan on the ankle, and they say, you think when you look at an MRI or a CAT scan, it's perfect, but they say it's more like listening to an engine. A very skilled mechanic can maybe pick up something off it, but it's not till you open up and you'll see it. So there might have been something in there. it would seem unusual that, young, healthy, fit man could wrap his foot
Elbow.
around
Yeah.
an elbow,
Yeah.
without there have been something there before. But you can sort of play those guessing games all day long.
Hmm.
At the end of it all, that particular guard, we had worked on that being a spear motion, a horizontal spear motion with the foot, rather than like that kind of
The
karate
snap.
style flick from the knee. He knows both techniques very well. I just think maybe in the heat of the moment, it was the flick come out rather than the stab, and unfortunately he hit that elbow. But credit to Dustin. That's the way fighting goes. He won. It's an unfulfilling end to the night. Even I won't put words in Conor's mouth, but even if you go out for the next few rounds and it goes in such a way that you just kind of get punched out, you sort of shrug your shoulders and go, all right, you got me.
Yeah.
This one just doesn't, it doesn't feel properly finished,
Sure.
so to speak.
Closure. There's no closure.
Closure, that's the
Yeah.
word I was looking for.
And
Closure,
and
yeah.
and do you feel like, because really one of the things I've always admired so much about Connor and about you really is his ability to face those losses head on. I think he even has a quote about that. And he always
Yes.
does the press scrum after and is always incredibly gracious in defeat. And you could just sense the frustration when he was talking to Joe Rogan. And is that
Well,
why? I mean, it's a
I
very emotional
yeah,
situation. You can't
I
expect the
have my
man to have
I
a
have
great,
my yeah, I have my opinions on that. Like his foot is literally hanging down.
like why?
It's a clean fracture on the fibula and tibia. It went straight through. His foot's hanging down. It's You can only imagine the rush of hormones and what's going to be going
Adrenaline.
through your body at that moment. The pain, it was on fire, and then someone sits down and sticks a microphone under your face and how are you
Yeah.
feeling right now? And it's like,
Yeah.
guys, come on, come on. When is he ever not being gracious at the end? And
Yeah.
let's get backstage. Let's get a proper assessment by a doctor. Let's get an X-ray. So let's say I was pretty miffed at that idea of
Yeah.
shoving a microphone in someone's face at that stage.
Sure.
Let's gather ourselves and let's yeah. Anyway, look, what's happened has happened. We got out of there pretty sharpish. We went. I'm what will I say? Hesitant to start going too deep into someone else's medical details, but let's just say we're getting it fixed now. And a big part of the training camp was somewhat having a mindset of 24-hour goals. So it's very tempting. I think we're all a little bit tempted to always ask, what's next? And even in training, like, what are we doing next week or what are we doing next month? And I think you can sometimes get lost always like living in some imaginary future. What are we doing? Well, I don't know. I don't know. You and I don't know what we're doing 2 weeks from now. We don't know what way the roads are going to turn. So 24-hour goals. So the 24-hour goal for today is to, meet with the surgeon and the team after this operation is finished, get their take on it, get their assessment. It's not till you open them up and actually look at the joint and exactly look at what's going on in there can they tell us, what the next while is going to look like in terms of rehabilitation. So that's what today's goal is, and what we'll do tomorrow, I'm not too sure. That's based on today. We change our 24-hour goals, as the name suggests, every 24 hours.
Yeah. How is he emotionally at this point? Is it frustration? Is it determination? Or what is the emotion of this 24 hours, I guess is the question.
Yeah, it was funny. He wasn't long after it making some jokes like there's this charity boxing match going on back home in Ireland, and had you heard about it?
No, I can imagine where you're going with this. I can
Right.
imagine, yeah,
So
conversation.
the main event is a guy who's in a wheelchair, and he's having a wheelchair boxing fight with an ex-Olympian, Paddy Barnes, an amazing boxer, and there's great
Which is
crack going on.
incredible.
Yeah, there's great build-up going. Now the co-main event was Connor. Connor had volunteered to be the co-main event. where he was going to box. There's a guy called Al Foran who's an impressionist. You might have seen him do some of Conor's impressions.
Yeah.
So Conor was going to fight Conor, you know, in the co-main event, which I thought was quite funny. He was accepting his first ever co-main slot. He's been main event for a couple of years now, but anyway, while in the heat of all this, he just turned and went, you know what, I'm going to do the wheelchair boxing fight now because he's off the street for a while. So he made a joke about that, and then the doctor was giving him all these strong painkillers. And he turned to the doctor and he goes, "Do you have anything spare there you could throw my coach's way, you know?" and then in the next moment you'll be in the dumps, you know. It's somewhat, I say, like a major loss like this. It's not to speak lightly about a death, but it's like the death of something, and it comes in waves, and you're upset, you're angry, you're happy, you're a bit all over the place, you know. So he was just being his usual self. Just, you know, he was watching the fight back, and we were looking at different parts of it. And I was telling him, you know, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We don't know. You know, another moment in my life I would talk about would be the end of the Khabib fight. That was one of the lowest moments I can remember for myself. We lost a big sporting contest. I didn't like how it went at the end, and the other things that are around that, it's not for me. Back home in my personal life, there were certain things going on within my gym and organization that were really negatively affecting me. You know, even ourselves, we're involved with the Warrior, and you know that was going okay, but it wasn't really going where I thought it would go. My point being is that everything felt as low as it could be. And now I look, and like with the Warriors that are just going crazy in the last while, I've got a beautiful son. My gym is going through the roof. You know, you can see yourself in a point of time in your life, and you think, you know, this is terrible. But I don't know what path it's going to knock me onto. That's going to actually end up. I look back and say, you know what, that was a positive thing. It made me make some changes. It made me go in this pathway instead of that pathway, which brought me to where I am now. So I've kind of, like, with a little bit of age and a little bit of experience, to know that, you know, failure is not final. It's not, this is not it. This is not the end of the world. This is a sporting contest. This morning I woke up, the sun still rose. I still got to see my son on FaceTime. Orla still loves me, you know. All the things that matter in my life are still exactly the same as they are. My family still check in on me, and that's the same for Conor. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. The rest of the stuff that's going on around us, we'll make adjustments, we'll make changes. We've done it before, we'll do it again.
And the fact that you say we will do it again, and the fact that you talk about, you know, Conor watching the fight back, I think answers my next question for me, and that is, today, as you sit here and as you are around Conor in this 24 hours, what is the likelihood that we will see him fight maybe next year, we'll say?
Laura, you're a fantastic interviewer. You really are. You just took my whole philosophy there of 24 hours only and somehow made that into, can you predict the next 6 months or 12 months? That's a gift.
I gotta try.
You're not being paid enough. I don't know what you're being paid, but you got to be paid more. Yeah, look, it's very hard to predict what the future's going to be. Conor, I think he's always loved fighting. He's always loved competition. He's always loved preparation. But some of the changes we made in the lead up to this fight, for example, the 24-hour goals, keeping everything flexible, even some of the approaches to the technical parts of the training, he was really like a kid in a candy shop. He was really enjoying it. You know, every day we seem to be just like smiles at the end of it. And you know, you can have all the cars and the watches and all of this in the world, but if you what do you really want to do? What's really enjoying? What do you really enjoy doing? And for some, that's, I don't know what it is, whether it's going out deep sea fishing or climbing or playing video games all day. I don't know. People love different things. He truly loves this, and it's hard to imagine him not wanting to come back, not wanting to do this again, because we really just got this fantastic rhythm. He's 33 in a couple of days' time. which is I believe is a sort of a physical. You're peaking at that area.
Hmm.
It's kind of where strength is meeting conditioning and mental and physical and spiritual maturity. Everything's coming together, and I think we've got a couple of years of this ahead of us. So if that future, which we don't talk about, but you somehow have me talking about, is is going to be that, well then great, we'll do that. But 24-hour goals for today.
We're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it right at 24 hours. I know that you're taking a lot of time for us, and I appreciate that. Just one last thing, I would love you to comment on. I know you get to go back to your family now. I mean, that is another one of the positives we can take from these 24 hours. You get to go back home to your family and Connor as well, and you do have three, I believe, Wimp to Warrior sessions that are kicking off soon. So a lot to get back to, and I gotta imagine that makes you feel pretty good.
Yeah, we actually it's usually every year, every 6 month block, we run one season at a time with 50 people in it maybe. And this one we've 3 seasons running at the same time, so we've never tried that before. We were trying to catch up a city kickboxing that are kicking our ass with numbers. So we were trying to catch up with them.
Darn you,
Um,
Eugene.
yeah, he's just too good. He's just too
Yeah.
good. The man's an overachiever. Um, and then I roped Coach John Roddy into running some seasons too. So
Ooh.
actually, technically, for the first time in Dublin, we've 5 seasons because he's
Oh
got
my
he's
goodness.
got 2 seasons running at the same time. So we've 5 seasons running at the same time. They actually started on Monday Fight Week. Um, so we're 1 week into it now. We did leave it open, and I think it still is open. Anybody watching this in the Dublin area that's interested in jumping in, will be kind of restarting it again next week. So there's still a couple of spaces there left, and I look forward to being on the mat with them in the next couple of weeks, and carrying on. That's what martial arts is about, and that's what we talk about. And I have a book out there, Win and Learn. So it's not win and keep going or lose and quit. That's not the mentality. So there's no point in just words. There's got to be action. So I'll be on the mat next week, and I've got some big fights coming up for. We have Kiefer Crosby and Brian Moore. I'll be back. I'm in LA now. I'll be back in LA in a couple of weeks with them. Brad Katona in Kazakhstan in August. Johnny Walker shortly after that again in Vegas. So the
Yep,
the ball keeps rolling.
it does. The ball always keeps rolling in MMA, particularly in the UFC. That train will never stop running. John,
No,
thank you so much for being gracious with your time today and being open with all of your thoughts. It means a lot, and I appreciate you taking this time for Wimp to Warrior. And guys, that's it. We'll let John get back to his day there. Thank you so much, Coach. Appreciate it.
thanks, Laura, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Take
Yep.
care.
Bye, guys.
How do you get off this now?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.